To give you an idea of the size of the country that we're talking about, Sarawak's about the size of England, but with only about 2.5 million people. A lot of jungle. Sabah's about the size of Scotland, but with about half the population. And Labuan is just under 100,000, very small place.
Across all 3 states, there are 120 mentors. Each mentor is working with 5 schools, and across their 5 schools, they're mentoring 10 core teachers. As we've said before, mentors are encouraged to work with many more people than that.
The 4 project objectives that we've got are just improving teaching and learning, improving language proficiency, improving classroom resource in terms of using, assessing, developing.
And the 4th objective is to ensure the sustainability of any developments, primarily through involving as many stakeholders, as many people around the core teachers as we can.
The aims of the project from the ministry side, they contracted us because they have a new curriculum came into place in 2011 with some quite radical changes to approaches to teaching, more pupil-centred, with continuous assessment as the focus, big literacy drive but with speaking before literacy, so a big focus on communication. We weren't going to jump in straight away with mentors showing teachers how it's done or training teachers and delivering programs. And we gave a very, very long, it was called Phase 1. I think for the first group it was 10 weeks.
It's really, really important that they understand the actual school, the culture of the school, the local community, and the teachers whom they're going to be working with. So there's a lot of talking with people, gathering data, and understanding that local setting.
I would call this a stranger at the doorstep. That's my punchline for this program when it first started. Because the mentors were strangers to us and we were strangers to them. Also for our teachers, because all this while they were quite used to this continuous professional development where you'd have someone stand in front and speak to like 100 teachers and tell them, okay, this is what you can do for language arts, this is what you can do for listening and speaking, and that's it. Nobody was like listening to them to say that, look here, in my classroom, I've got students with diverse abilities, and how do I handle that? Many a times it wasn't a problem of proficiency as well. It was other issues, classroom management, getting the right, giving the right dosage for children to develop. Because I think the teachers have got lots of experience, lots of knowledge with them, but to actually apply it to different contexts and situations, that was the challenge.
You didn't want perfect.
Yes, I don't want anything perfect. I just want them to give and to try, and to show an effort.
And that's worked, so they're writing well.
Since the teachers themselves are the centre of this project and the approach of this project, the relationship between teacher and mentor has, it's paramount. And that's why this Phase 1, this early period of non-intervention, getting to know the culture and the needs and the context is so important.
And the key is as well that we know nothing about Malaysian primary schools. These teachers do. So we're not. They are the experts in their area. They know about the context that they're working in, so it has to be an equal relationship where they're learning and developing together as well.
She built up a good relationship with us. She made sure that we feel comfortable. She made sure that we know and we understand that she's coming here not to change you, not to teach you that it is good. No, you are doing what are you doing now? Oh, that is bad. No, she never said like that. But then she will say, do you have any good idea? Do you have any other ideas how to improve that?
Getting the teachers to take what they're already doing and try to develop what they're doing rather than importing some new system or some new way of thinking. It's kind of try to take what they've got, get the teachers to find out what they perceive as the problems with that, develop those things. So it evolves rather than, it's more of an evolution than a revolution. Yeah, and then it's important not to impose an idea. It would be easy to come here and say, yeah, this is how you do it, this is wrong, this is how you should be doing it. But it wouldn't be successful, and it wouldn't be felt, it wouldn't be understood, and it would be possibly quite damaging.
You know, you can give a set of lessons, but when things change a couple of years down the line, the teacher hasn't really developed this ability to change with that. They'll wait for the new specialist to come in and tell them what to do. So hopefully this approach, where you're not just training them, it's getting them to become more adaptable.
Of course, initially, like what we always say, some of them were like reluctant. It's like an inspector coming to check on me. But later when we actually convinced them that, you know, you need to have very important, rich engagement. Talk to the mentor. So what if he's somebody who's come with experience and knowledge? You have more experience and knowledge because you are serving in that particular context. They are not.
There were already rumors of Orang Putih coming here and teaching us. That's what I thought at first, teaching. I mean, and I thought to myself, why would anyone come here and teach me? I mean, I already have all the knowledge that I need. And found out after a few weeks that I was so wrong.
With my eyes.
The program brings or develops their courage, their confidence to actually develop more teaching practices, teaching ideas. I think this program has leashed out the creativity that they have all this time in them.
Tongue. Okay.
Going through this project and getting new ideas, I found that if I use my body a lot, use body language a lot, they would be interested. I mean, kids, they like to move around a lot. Yeah, that's why I changed my way of teaching.
What else do we need? We have the eyes. What? The mouth. Okay. Which one? Which one do you want?
They're so used to me talking almost 100% English in every lesson that I teach, and that's thanks to my mentor. Now you're seeing the results. They understand what I'm saying.
I don't know. It's you. Is it you? No, it's not me. It's not you.
Trying something new, what if you don't do it quite right and it doesn't work and then you get blamed, if you don't get it perfectly the first time. I think that's been a big thing for him as well, is that he's so much more reflective that we'll go into a lesson, he'll try out something new, and when we come out afterwards, he's not just saying, well, that was terrible, the children couldn't do it. 90% of the children didn't achieve it. They weren't taking part. Now he's coming out and he's saying, well, I think I should have maybe changed the instructions a little bit. I should have done this, I should have done that, but maybe next time it'll work. Without me sort of saying, but what could you have done? He's just coming and doing that automatically.
There are really strong relationships that have been built between mentors and mentees, between Ministry of Education officials and ourselves. We got a huge number of stakeholders, really.
If you want teachers to be more exploratory and creative, and then you've got to create the conditions where that's possible. And I guess the leadership in this system is very important, particularly head teachers, I think, because the working conditions directly will be controlled by the heads.
The teacher will implement everything for the teaching and learning. So I need the support from the GB, because when the GB say one word, it's better than I say 10 words.
Kita telah berjaya melakukan berbagai pengisian di bawah program penutur jati ini. Yang antara impaknya ialah
you have schools where the whole school is involved, the GB, the PKs, other English language teachers. And you have other schools where the mentor goes in and just works with their mentees. But the ones where you get wider engagement tend to be the ones where you get a lot of positive stories, and you get a lot of progress.
I think one of the biggest recommendations we already made as mentors is that look at the next levels, because that's where, if it comes from the top, it'll work with the bottom.
School like our school here, native schools, where mother tongue is not in English. So that's why we give a full support to our mentor here to implement this one in the school. To all our education minister like this program to be started in a lot of schools.
I think it comes always from the head down in the school, and here the head is willing to listen to his teachers and their ideas, and teachers seem to be willing to share with each other and not feel that. I think here it is kind of like people don't want to be seen to be proud.
Asian culture, we are confident, but we don't show. We are not allowed to show off, to share things, to show off our skills or our knowledge, because we are asked in our norms is to we are asked to be humble. See, so because of that, I think the teachers they have the ability, but they don't really share that ability to others, to show that ability to others. And through this program, it creates opportunity for them to share, to show that they can do it, to prove that they can do things that actually within their limits, and it builds confidence.
I think one of the really good things about the project approach is it hasn't been coming in and pushing and pushing and pushing. It's been a case of working together, hand in hand, embedded, and finding out, helping the teachers find their own solutions. And when they start to find these and start to see improvements, you can see a self-realisation with a lot of the teachers, and that can be teacher that started off very negative about the project. Oh, it's just another initiative from Cal that's going to work in a Cal school, but it's just completely unsuitable here. But it's turned around because of the approach of the mentor, and that's spread to the school.
It's important for any walk of life, isn't it? Reflecting on what you're doing, getting feedback from others. Not just acting in a routine way all the way, thinking that what you're doing is right because it's what you do, but stopping to take stock.
I think a lot of teachers, when they leave teacher training, the teacher training institutes, they actually have quite a good background and quite a good understanding of communicative methodologies, and they're used to trying things out, and they've heard a lot about how to teach, and they've maybe tried and experimented with some successes. But then when they come into the schools, I think sometimes there's an expectation that some of those communicative methodologies are maybe very loud, very noisy, very difficult to control. So the teachers often tend to resort to the easiest and the most straightforward ways of teaching, which often can be very direct methods, and sometimes methods where the children just aren't really learning anything, like drilling off the board where the teacher disappears off for 20 minutes or something. So because of that, actually looking at that and asking the questions of why isn't that working? Why aren't the children learning anything? Why aren't they progressing? By asking those questions, it starts to lead naturally to well, what if we try this? What if we give this a try? Why isn't this working? If we try this, will that lead to better results? Will that lead to changes? Will the kids like English more? So those kind of questions, hopefully, when they're asking those and they're experimenting with those, that's where they start to see the changes happening in themselves, but also in the children.
I am doing a research project. It's about conducive, language-rich environment and its impact on a classroom, whereby how a student can speak or learn the language better in an environment which is full of the targeted language. In my case, it's English. So I made a plan together with my mentor, thank you very much, plan with her on how to deal with the problem, and we made things happen. where we observed the students, we read other research on this topic and everything, and after much discussion, we made a few changes to the plans, and finally I think it worked out, as I'll tell you later, how my students progressed. I would like you to, based on the picture you have in front of you, plan an environment. How do you make it a language-rich environment?
Maybe their projects and little descriptions and movements of the animals.
There seems to be quite a lot of pictures, but not so much language in this part of the picture.
I flooded the classroom with materials in English, whereby it was interactive wall displays, games like Scrabble and everything, books, posters. So when I'm not in the class, everything around them is in English. See? So that's my research, the impact of it.
Oh, mau masa depan yang cerah macam dorang ada kerjaya kan? Boleh macam jadi doktor. Yeah.
The teachers in the school have been, on the whole, making a judgment here, a little reluctant and uncertain about how much involvement parents can have in the school.
We don't want to work with parents. We are afraid of them, they're also afraid of us. We don't want to get involved with parents. Parents in Malaysia, they are not so supportive. On that time, we feel like that. But then, gradually, when we introduced an English family workshop, when we introduced the homework signing project, then we could see that actually parents want to work with us. It's just that they don't know how. And then we are not open to them.
Often teachers have a quite pessimistic view about the extent to which parents want to get involved. And I think on this project, over and over again, we've had an experience where we've talked to teachers. They're enthusiastic about working with parents, but often they'll say, oh, you know, I think we'll get maybe 6 will turn up, or maybe a dozen. And then on the day, when the teachers are actually running the workshop with parents, we've had 70 or 80 parents turn up, and people running around trying to find chairs for parents.
In order to help our children in their education, in their learning, we should not only not only the teachers, the parents also have
with this project,
play their role.
Parents know that they need teachers, and teachers know that they need parents. And with the help of the school management, what I mean is, if the school management is supportive, this will becoming what we call a reality.
Children learn best when they know their parents really value education and can support them. They don't have to have the answers, but if parents really demonstrate that support for their children in learning, and that they value education, their children will do better.
We said from the start we're not going to be one of these projects where there's no trace of the effects of that project 5 years after the project's finished. So there hasn't been anything sustained. And we said, no, that's going to be a key determiner of what we do, is whether it's sustainable or it'll lead to sustainability.
How can we sustain this program? Who's going to help to sustain this program? I feel that the sustainability has to come from the school itself, the teachers themselves, with the support from their head teachers, from the teacher assistants, the senior assistants, and also the panel and the staffs them in general in the school.
Our approach to teacher development has been mentee-led. You know, the teacher is the centre of the development. It's not imposed or transferred from an expert to a learner, a teacher-learner, but it's helping the teacher themselves to identify what their needs might be, what their interests are, and how they themselves can investigate that and adapt that and change that and reflect on, you know, if things are getting better. Just that entire approach to teacher development is something that, you know, after 2 years working closely with a mentor, you no longer need a mentor.
It's a kind of internalize your own values, if you realize it's not working and you're doing something about it, that's a pretty powerful step to make, and it's not a particularly easy one. So it's fantastic when the teachers do that, and I think that's when you can see the biggest changes as well, because the motivation is very internal for that kind of process. So they're invested in it as soon as they've realized that what they're doing isn't necessarily the best, and they experiment, you start to see changes and the motivation to continue changing because they can see improvements, and it was all started because of their own reflection on a problem that they felt they had.
So I'm trying to take myself out of the picture more and have the teachers run the workshops and run meetings and bring in their own ideas and their own experiences, because it's really about them in the end.
There are many other mentees out there. Us having these cluster meetings really helped us to get together and have new ideas, and that's why I'm not that worried if she eventually goes, because she's already prepped us for a departure. So yeah, we're quite ready for it. I mean, we have more than enough to carry on. Yeah, she gave us so much.